Hey there guys, welcome back to ARTFX Studios, and this is sound design request number 4. This one was requested by Eligo on my sound design production chat on Skype, and he was requesting me to remake the plucky synth sound from KYGO's remix of Ed Sheeran's track Icy Fire. I tried to replicate the sound, and he eventually got the sound himself. He found out how to do it, and I actually realized that I could make a whole bunch of different plucky synth sounds that are really similar and have that same style. So I'm going to show you a technique today, how you can create interesting plucky synth sounds like the one that KYGO uses, but you can create a whole bunch of different ones from just this technique. And after this technique, you'll be able to create sounds that are similar, but still totally different, and they will sound like a little bit something like this. So that sounds pretty simple, you would say, and it sounds pretty cool. It's the same MIDI file as the Ed Sheeran track has, the KYGO remix, but I did a totally different thing. I created this plug using FM synthesis. Now, I don't really think that KYGO uses FM synthesis. He's a really big fan of Nexus and possibly some other synths as well, but I think he's just using subtractive synthesis to create his plugs. Now, I'm gonna duplicate this track. I don't know why it's taking so long. Oh yeah. So I've duplicated the track. I can turn this one off. And let's go in here. And I'm gonna drag a blank operator preset onto this particular operator. And I'm gonna turn off the EQ, the convolution reverb, and the delay. Let's just take that compressor off as well. So this is just the plain operator preset. Sounds really simple, and what you would want to do is I'm first gonna bring this one down 1 octave, so we get that. Now we have this whole bunch of different waveforms to choose from. One that I think sounds pretty cool, let's do a square 3. Sounds pretty good. I'm going to go to here, and let's see which one are we gonna take. Let's take that one. So the operator A and C are outputting sound in this particular setup, and B is controlling the frequency of A, and D is controlling the frequency of C. Might be interesting to work with that. The first thing I need to do, I've got this one, and the envelope for this one, which is this, I'm gonna create that so that it falls down a little bit. Now we get a little bit more of a percussive kind of feeling, and that's what I want. And now I'm going to feed operator B into A. So we get something like that. I can add some feedback to this if I want. Makes it sound pretty interesting. Now the cool thing about operator is we can add a whole bunch of different harmonics to this. So for instance, I can do that. Or I can do that. And it changes the sound. I can set this to 2, which makes it a little bit weird. So I'm looking for something that sounds like that. Add some feedback. Now, for the envelope, I'm gonna bring this down. and I'm gonna have a pretty short decay time. So we get something like that. Yeah, that sounds good. So without that operator, it sounds pretty simple, pretty plain, not really that interesting. And with it, it sounds much more like some tropical kind of sound, I guess. And you can use those sound, you can hear those sounds a lot in his tracks. Now for the other layer, I'm gonna set this to 1 octave down as well, 0.5. Bring it up. Now this one is just providing that. I might want to see and do something with it. Let's take a triangle. I like triangles. Again, I'm gonna make a pretty short. I think that sounds pretty interesting. We can try an octave higher. We get that. If we feed D into C, and we can make this a lot higher. And if we layer that with this, sounds pretty cool. We can always play around with that feedback. It's not really doing that much on this one. We can add some harmonics if we want. And let's see. We can fine-tune things if we want. Let's see how that sounds. Just a little bit of that fine-tuning sounds pretty good, actually. Just a little tiny bit. Now, we have a pretty decent plucky sound, but it's not good enough yet. What we need to do is we need to set up the filter. So I'm gonna bring this filter frequency all the way down. Or maybe to about there. And now I want this envelope to be controlling the frequency of the filter. So I'm gonna drag this one up. I've now set the envelope amount up to 100, which does that. Now we need to shape the envelope. We can, and I can take that envelope amount down a little bit. I like a little bit of that resonance. It makes it sound a little bit better. That's definitely a good sound. I think we're almost done with this one right now. Sounds good. There's one more thing we could do to give it a little bit more of a percussive kind of feeling. I'm gonna drag that pitch envelope all the way up to 100%, which gives us this. Sounds nothing like what we would need, but when I bring that decay time down a lot, and we can check the before and after. And we can make the peak a little bit higher. Let's do it in 24. Maybe make the decay a little bit longer. So that's with, and this is without. So it gets a little bit more percussive when we do this. I might back this down a little bit. 50%. Might be good. Yeah. So that sounds pretty good. I mean, this sounds really interesting. You add a delay to there. This is my delay. Really simple setup to give it that delaying effect. Then we have the convolution reverb, which basically just adds a whole bunch of reverb to the sound, which is really good for these kind of sounds. You should definitely have a lot of reverb on them. That is then running through EQ8, which is cutting off all the low frequencies, because we don't need those anyway. And that is finally running through compressor. Now I need to see what I've done right here. I don't want more than that 5 dB of gain reduction. And there you have it. A really interesting sounding plucks in sound that KYGO would use in his tracks a lot. Now the cool thing about it is that we are working with FM synthesis, so we can change things up really easily. The best way to do this is to just go through all of these different routing options. For instance, if I go to the first one, our plug now has become totally different. And we're still doing the same thing. It's a different plug, but it still sounds good. You see? That one sounds pretty cool as well. This one sounds really a little bit deeper in terms of the sound. Like it's almost been low passed, but it's not, so it's pretty cool. That one sounds a little bit crap. Oh, that one is good as well. That one is cool as well. And then finally just the subtractive option. I like that one. Sounds pretty cool. Now, I did the same for the other one, and I found out something pretty cool. This one, you can see what I've done right here. It's just sine wave for operator A, square 3 for operator B, triangle for operator C, and a sine wave again for operator D. Added a little bit of that feedback to D, and the envelopes. Really short decaying envelope, a little bit higher. Again, decaying envelope, and just a full sustained envelope. You can see same thing with the filter, same thing with the pitch envelope. It's basically just doing the exact same thing. You can see what I've done. So this one is using this particular routing setting, and that makes it sound different. But when I switch this to, let's say, the first one, we almost get something that sounds like a flute. So yeah, I really advise you to just check out the different routing settings. Because with the different routing settings, you can get a whole bunch of different sounds. Now, if you want to change up the way this sounds, it's really easy. You can go in here and, for instance, change one of the operator's pitch or coarse setting. So this one was the 0.5. If I set this to 1 or to 2, still pretty similar. But if I would set this one to 2, it's still similar. Set this to 3 or this to 1. I don't know why, but I'm not getting much sound out of that particular oscillator. Operator. Okay, that's it. It's really simple. You just need to play around with all these settings and change stuff around, and it will definitely help you to create different plugs. Now, we can change the filter if we want. we set this to a bandpass, you get a different sounding thing. Sounds more like a flute with a bandpass actually. And that's it. That's how you create KYGO style plucky sounds with FM synthesis. You could do the same thing with FM8 if you want. You can do the same thing with a synthesizer that has FM frequency modulation capabilities. I'm not saying that you need FM synthesis to create these sounds, because without FM synthesis, you can create really similar sounds in, for instance, massive or in analog if you want. So that's it. If you have any requests for a sound that you want me to make, please post them in a comment below and I will try to do a video about that. If you have any questions about this video, post it in a comment below as well. Or you can come to my website, which is www.artfx-studios.com. On there you can find a forum, talk with a lot of other music producers and talk to me directly. You can ask feedback on the forum as well, and you can just ask your questions there and I'll be there to answer them. Also, keep on liking and subscribing and following and retweeting and doing whatever you need to do on all these links that are on the screen right now. That will help me to grow even faster and bigger than I'm currently doing. We are growing really rapidly fast in the past couple of years, and it's just doing a great job, so I want to thank you for that. And yeah, for now, I'll just hope to see you back in the next video. Peace!